Welcome to the Life Chat Podcast, seeking the truth with Derek Powell, navigating you through every Wednesday night. New topics ignite, join the journey. Let's take flight, bringing insights that change our view. Derek's voice, clear and true. Tune in each week, discover new light. Life Chat Podcast, reach a new height.
Welcome once again to Life Chat Podcast. Thank you all for joining me tonight on this beautiful Wednesday night. Also, thank you for being a part of the solution instead of part of the problem. You know, if you're here with me tonight, if you're joining me tonight, you're staying out of the way and you're doing what you got to do. So, tonight's topic, parenting and recovery. And we have two individuals, actually, let me rephrase that. We have two more superstars here on Life Chat Podcast. And that's what we are around here, around these here parts. We are superstars. We're celebrities on celebrity status. We have Mr. Dean Johnson. What's going on, Dean?
Hey, what's up, Derek? How you doing, man?
Can't hear you, Dean.
Can't hear me?
Okay, I was wondering what was happening, man.
There we go.
I hear you now.
How you doing, brother?
And we have, I'm great, old and fat.
That's
and
right.
we have our second celebrity, Miss Brianna Watkins. Bree. All right, Bree. So, I just want to jump right in. I don't like to waste too much time. I waste enough time doing what I was doing. But just to jump right into the topic, parenting and recovery. If you can, we always try to help each other. We always try to come across with a solution to help another individual, maybe somebody in a similar situation, or maybe somebody just trying to gain information to move forward with their process. Parenting and recovery can definitely be a huge obstacle. I'm going to call it an obstacle. I'm just going to say a situation, actually, because just being a single individual in recovery, in the recovery process, or however you want to call it, just being a single individual can be stressful enough. But when you add another human life in the equation, we add more stress, we add more responsibility. So let's just jump right into it. Dean, we want you to jump into it first, and the reason, your who you are, where you're from, what your process is right now, and discuss a little bit about the topic, parenting and recovery.
All right. My name's Dean. I'm definitely an addict. I used hard drugs for about 25 years straight. I've been trying to get clean. I've been in this recovery thing for about the last 7 years, going in and out. I had a few relapses in my story. And right now, man, I'm just living here at this Oxford house, trying to do the next right thing and get it together, get my recovery right. Because as you know, I got a child on the way, and I have another daughter that I'm trying to get back into her life, man. So I'm doing the due process, trying to get my life together.
Okay. Miss Bree, you're up next. Drum roll, please. You're up next, Bree.
I'm Bree. I'm originally from Maryland, and I moved up here about 2016. Started using drugs when I was in high school. Ended up stopping for a while, and then I didn't pick up heavy drugs until I was about 27. I used around my kids, and I regret it every day. And it ultimately ended up with me getting my kids taken. So my mom has my daughter, and my grandmother has my son. And right now, the goal is to get them back as quickly as I can. And as Dean said, I'm 9.5 weeks pregnant, so that's another thing to add to the stress. But I mean, it's been going pretty well. It's just right now just trying to find a place.
All right. And we mentioned what I mentioned earlier about the stress level. The stress by itself is a situation for anybody that's in the recovery process. And when you add another baby, when you add a child to that equation, or another human being, another human life to that equation, it compounds the stress, and changes the whole dynamic of the situation. And just the fact that you are pregnant, and just being a female and in the recovery process, can you talk a little bit about what those feelings are for you right now with your pregnancy?
So for me, I had when I first found out, right, I had a couple of different emotions. I was happy at first, but then I was shocked because I couldn't believe that it happened, and then I got scared because ultimately I'm in a sober living house that's not a mommy and me. So I the the first thought was, am I even going to be allowed to live this, right? Because this is only my second time being in sober living, so I'm still kind of new to this whole thing. And then on top of that, my second thought was, oh my God, I'm on Suboxone. Like, I don't know what it's going to do to the baby. I don't know how it's going to affect it. Like, this is all new to me. So, my biggest stress is just making sure that my medications don't affect the baby on top of my children don't know. That's my biggest thing. Because ultimately, right now, my goal is to get them back to her. But I don't know how my kids are going to react to it. So that's another stress that's constantly on my mind. But at the end of the day, it's something that I can't avoid. I'm gonna have to talk to them eventually. But my two main stresses are just making sure that the baby's safe, that I go to every appointment, my meds aren't affecting the baby in any way, and just proceeding on with positivity for the rest of the pregnancy.
All right. You mentioned something that I want to come back to about the medication, taking the boxing,
Hmm.
and and being pregnant. I want to come back to that in a minute. But Dean, you're the
Yeah.
father, man. You're the father. You are the father. As on the Maury show, you are the father, right? So you know you're the father. So what type of feelings or emotions have you felt in your recovery process now once you found out that you were going to be a father?
Yeah, as you said, man, it's definitely when you add another life, it's a big stress factor, but it can also be a huge motivating factor. Um, I tend to procrastinate, and sometimes I'll put things off, but now knowing that I got another life under my hands, it's a big motivator for me to stay on the ball and do it, and work as hard as I can to make sure that this child is going to have a better life than I had, and give it a fair chance in this world. So it's a huge stress, man. It is, but it's also a huge motivating factor for me.
All right. I like hearing that too, man, because I always I have adult children. So I've been waiting to be a pop-up, a grandfather. I've been waiting to be a grandfather. This hasn't happened yet. But I've
Uh,
been waiting for that. I've been waiting for that because the time that I threw away, the time that I gave away, and when I wasn't there for my children, being caught up in addiction, being in prison, or just being around but not actually being present, I wanted to at least try to make that up with a grandbaby. Plus I like the little kids anyway, man. I like the little kids, the innocent little kids. When they get a certain age and they start bucking. Anyway,
yeah.
but I did want to get back to Bree about the being pregnant and taking the being on maintenance medication, Suboxone. You said right.
Yes.
So what is that? Have you researched that? Have you found out any information about that? Because some other people might be listening that want to know the same
So
thing.
I ended up because since I since I found out, I immediately went to my Suboxone doctor and I let him know the situation, what was going on. And ultimately, he said that the safest option was switching to Subutex because I guess the naloxone that's in the Suboxone isn't safest to the baby. It's more high risk. It can cause birth defects. It can cause other complications. So ultimately, the safest option was switching to Subutex.
All right. So you're basically safe actually, right?
Yeah.
So there is nothing that's going to actually affect the baby in a negative way.
No. So the way that they explained it was buprenorphine is safer for the baby, and they experience less uh, withdrawal symptoms as far as severity goes, more mild than being on Suboxone or say methadone, for instance. So once the baby's born, when the baby goes through withdrawal, it won't be as severe.
All right. And to another situation, you're both in are you both in the sober living environment
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
recovery?
we are.
All right. So how does that work out being, as being a parent, far as parenting, uh, when you're about ready to raise this child, or even if you're not going to be in that environment? Well, how was that decision? How did y'all plan this out as far as what you're going to do moving forward, as far as the home housing situation?
Um, as of right now, our plans are we're putting in applications for housing, whether it's an apartment, a house, a trailer, whatever. Um, because as she mentioned, she has another daughter and another son, and I have another daughter, and not only for the child that's on the way, but we'd like to get a home for our children that we already have. So we're looking for our own place, you know. God willing, it happens. And worst case scenario, they do have sober living homes for like a mommy and me, to where the children can live there, or the baby can live there. But ultimately, man, we're just trying to get our own place and start our family.
That's basically why I asked. I asked that for that reason about the mommy and me and daddy and me homes, and
Yeah,
but some people choose to go out on their own and leave that environment. That's why I asked that question, because some other people that I know are living they're going through that same situation right now. And sometime I in my mind it's kind of, that would be like a extreme difficulty for me. Being in that type of environment, trying to raise a baby, um, trying, having the baby over, and get all these different personalities around your child, and on top of what you already have going on in your own life. And I mentioned before about stress, about the stresses, and that was the reason for doing this episode right here, was because to try to raise awareness about the stress level, the stresses, and what options do you have? What type of what type of coping mechanisms, type of coping skills what have you been working on so far, or which would you use in uh, raising this child? Not to try to sound like Maury Povich or anything,
no,
but
no, no.
as
It's a good
as
question.
situational, it's a situational thing. So you might be might be helping somebody else that may not have these solutions. You might have a solution for somebody else.
You want to take this one, Barry?
I mean, ultimately for me, because I did live in a mommy me before I lived in this house. The thing that got me through, like just being around other children and having my kids over, was just having support from the house, right? So ultimately, there were times where I babysat somebody else's child, or I watched somebody else's child while they, had to jump in the shower or run to the store real quick, or had to go to a doctor's appointment, whatever the case may be. Having a supportive house is definitely a key factor for one, and then obviously having outside support is also another key factor. Just because at the end of the day, as cliche as it sounds, it does take a village to raise a baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Definitely takes a village. Because it takes a village to keep us straight. So it's gonna take a village to keep us straight with all that good stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. But I had another thing I wanted to mention, and it was just like being like I mentioned before about it being situational, and this is gonna take a lot of time as far as parenting. So as far as not taking away too much time away from you working on yourself and your recovery, both of you, right? Taking care of the baby is going to take away some time from what you've been doing as far as keeping your recovery first. So, how does that play out for you, Dean?
Uh, man, it's just it's I don't want to say terrible as it sounds. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just the baby's gonna it's just gonna have to come to meetings with us, be a part of our recovery life and our recovery family. Uh, they're going to the meetings with the child. I mean, we might not be able to hit as many. It might go down instead of 5 nights a week, 3 nights a week, or something like that. But I think that's the good part about being in recovery, man, and working on yourself. You have a lot of good people around you willing to help, whether it's a sponsor or friends or your support network or what have you. But there's a lot of supportive people out there. When you're doing anything, people definitely are willing to help, man. And but like you said, man, if you're not working on yourself and if you don't keep the recovery thing first, then it all goes anyway. So there's no point. So we got to make sure it's going to be a juggling act, man. But we got to make sure we keep our recovery first and keep working on us to add a person to raise this child. It's going to be no easy feat, and it's definitely we got our work in out for us. But
How did
I'm
you feel? I'm sorry. How did you feel, Dean? How did you actually feel when you found out that Bree was pregnant?
oh
What was the
man,
feel? What was the
it,
feeling?
it, it
I'm sorry, but I asked this for a particular reason. Sometimes we tend to want to celebrate, when we hear certain types of things, and that's a celebratory moment. So that's why I'm asking, what type of feelings and emotions ran through you?
and that's what it was, man. I've always wanted children, and I love kids, and I was happy. I was very happy. Um, it was just a joyous moment for me, but that was short, fleeting, and the being scared and nervous part hit me like a freight train right afterwards. I mean, I'm fresh back in recovery, man. I don't got a couple years. I got a couple of months. So like it's a lot all at one time. But man, I can't be more happy that I'm having another child. I don't regret it. I wouldn't take it back. I'm ready to start with my family, get my life together, and live a happy life, man.
Yeah, got another chance at it. And like we talked earlier, man, it's still here.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people, some people weren't fortunate enough to stick around. They they exited. You know,
Yes, sir.
um, and the situation is so serious that I mentioned a few minutes ago about it being celebratory moments, man. Sometimes in situations when we hear, you know, oh, she's pregnant, I'm about to be a dad, I'm about to be a father, I'm going to celebrate. We throw everything away. We throw everything away because I've done it.
Oh yeah.
Celebrate, throw everything away,
I celebrate
get
you
high.
talking. Yeah,
So,
actually,
but
that thought luckily never crossed my mind,
all right.
but it has on other occasions. I've celebrated clean time in that way, which makes no sense at all.
Ain't that one of the dumbest things in the world? You
Yes,
celebrate
sir.
your cooking time by going to get high. I've done it. Man, trust me. It's all. I'm telling you, we're all the same. It's all in one big circle, man.
It's that
It just
intense.
sounds crazy. It just sounds super crazy, but it's a reality.
Yes, sir.
Bree, what was your emotion? Your immediate emotion
Well, when I
when you
first
found out
found
you were pregnant?
oh my lord, I don't even know what possessed me to honestly take a text. I came home from event for Impact Life, and I walked in my room and I was like, you know what, let me just take one. I don't know what came across me. Just I said, all right, let's do this. So I took it, and when it showed up positive, I kind of was like confused at first. I was highly confused because I
You
didn't think that's what
confused.
I was.
You
Yeah,
confused. You didn't know how it happened. You didn't know how it happened.
I knew
Anyway,
I
go ahead.
knew.
You think the stork just dropped off?
So asked another girl in the house, I said, come look at this and tell me if I'm crazy, right? She said, no, you're pregnant. I was like, no. So I was shocked. I was happy. And I was like I said before, I was scared because I was on Suboxone at the time. I was living in I'm in a super living house that's not in Miami, so I had no idea what was gonna happen. I was afraid to tell my house, and ultimately I wasn't even gonna tell. I wasn't even gonna tell my parents for a while. My original was I'm not saying anything to nobody until I physically can't do it anymore because I was scared. Didn't know how to I didn't know how my kids were gonna react. Didn't know how my parents were gonna react. Didn't know how my house was gonna react. I wasn't gonna say anything. And then when I went over to Dean's house and I showed him the test and seen how happy he was, I kind of calmed myself down for a minute because ultimately my other two kids, right, when I found out I was pregnant, their dads didn't react that way. So the fact that I had a react with joy and so much support, it leveled my anxiety and my nervous down to the point where I came to my senses and realized, I should tell my house because this is something that my house needs to know. And ultimately, it gave me the courage to finally tell my parents. My kids don't know because I'm still definitely afraid to tell them. But having a supportive partner really helped me calm my nerves when I first found out.
Good point. That was a good point too about having a supportive partner, having somebody in your life that. You talk about it. You talk about it, Dean, because you
What's
would.
that?
She just put the crown on your head just then, man, about being a supportive partner. Talk about that. Talk about the support in the relationship.
Oh yeah, we're a team, man. We're definitely a team. We've done this thing together for the last couple of years. It started off in recovery, and we took a left turn instead of a right here and there, but we've been doing this whole journey together, man. It's I know I got at least one person in my life that I know I can count on, and it's got my back, and it ain't going nowhere, and it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to know you got that. Um, I'm not worried about this child having a bad mother or not being taken care of. It's nice to be in a team. We're a team. We're a team, man. We split everything 50-50. We work as I work as hard as she works. She works as hard as I work. We're both doing our utmost in our recovery. She keeps me accountable. I keep her accountable. Life in general. Instead of because two sickies can't make a welly, man. But every once in a while, two dead batteries can jump that car.
No, never.
And
That's never.
stop it.
That's never gonna happen. So I have one more question for you. All right. We're always trying to reach a solution and always trying to help another individual. So, would you have any suggestion or just some information that you would want to give for anybody that might be facing the same situation, in the same situation, or planning to have a child in the recovery process? What type of advice would you have?
If they weren't in this exact situation at the moment, I would take some time if you're new in the recovery to if you can. Just get yourself right before you take any kind of step like this. If you're already in a situation like that, keep your recovery first. Keep your recovery first because if you ain't clean, you're gonna lose everything, and no good's gonna come of it. So as hectic as life is gonna get with the child and work and this and this, just gotta keep your recovery first. That's my only advice.
Bree, same
I would
question.
definitely agree. Definitely keep putting your recovery first because at the end of the day, as tired as I am, um, after working all day or volunteering all day, I come home and I'm exhausted. I still make it to a meeting or do my step work and call my sponsor or be a part of my house or be of service to someone or somewhere. Always keep your recovery first because at the end of the day, uh, you got to remember that this child has a chance to never see an active addiction, and that's something that I'd rather give because I can't take back for my other two kids. This child never has a chance to be able to see an active addiction.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of us don't. I don't think a lot of us. Let me rephrase that. I didn't think about that part. Having about the child not having to go through the addiction with you. Because it's not just us that are the addict. Not just us that have to deal with the situation. Everybody around us, everybody that loves us, everybody that we love is a part of that lifestyle when we're in it. So the child don't have to grow up in that environment. The child don't have to see you use. The child don't have to see you go to jail. The child don't have to miss you. None of that because now you have the opportunity to live a wholesome life. A wholesome life. Bree, Dean, a wholesome life.
Yes, sir.
But is there anything else that you want to get off your chest? Anything else you want to say? Anything else that either one of you want to discuss before we close this out?
Nah, I just want to say thank you for having us on, man. It's
Thank you
nice
for having
to have a spot to be able to get some of our thoughts out and speak a little bit. So thank you for having me on, man. That's what I want to say. And it was a good time.
Thanks for coming on. Bree?
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for having me. It feels good to be able to express how I've felt during this pregnancy and be able to possibly reach somebody else that's going through this situation to know that it's ultimately a blessing in disguise. And like Dean said before, it's a huge motivation to keep doing the right thing and keep going forward in my recovery.
All right. All right. You know, as I always say, I always throw my disclaimer out there. This is my disclaimer, y'all. I don't know how this episode is going to turn out. I don't know how the video is going to turn out, but from what I got, it was a pretty good episode, and there was some information that somebody could possibly use to help them along their journey as well. But thank you all for being on, Dean and Bree. Congratulations on the baby, and just want to say thank you for being a part of the solution instead of part of the problem. Y'all keep moving forward because I know I am. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being a part of the solution instead of the problem. Have a great night. Be safe. Be blessed.